There's an old story about an old Cajun who died and went to hell. And the devil, believe it or not, really hates Cajuns. So he said to his demons, I hate Cajuns. We have really got to make this guy miserable. So stoke the fires and make it hotter. So they're stoking the fire, stoking the fire. And the Satan walks up to check on his work, and the Cajun's got just a little bit of perspiration, says, how do you like it here, Cajun? To which the Cajun replies, say, oh man, say, just be nice. Say, be just like springtime back home. So the devil's mad and he goes back, stoke it some more, stoke it some more. So they're stoking the fire, stoking the fire. Satan walks back up to the Cajun and he goes, how do you feel now? And the Cajun's got sweat just pouring off of him. I mean, his clothes are drenched. He says, oh man, say this be a little warm, but it's okay. Feel like August back home. So Satan is just teetotally angry. And he goes back to his demon and says, all right, new strategy, kill the fire. They just kind of look at him and says, kill the fire. So they kill it. He says, turn on the freezers, turn them all the way up. He goes back to the Cajun. Cajun has icicles on his beard and his teeth, they're chattering. And he says, how do you feel now, Cajun? Cajun says, oh man, this is great. This is wonderful. The Saints, they done won a Super Bowl. Now, I tell you that story because there was a time when the Saints' chances of winning a Super Bowl and my chances of staying on a healthy eating plan were one and the same. That's right. There was a time when I said, I don't want to eat healthy. I just can't eat healthy. I don't like anything on that plan. I want my sugar. I want my fats. I want my starches, and I want too much of it. And I tried. Actually, really did try at certain points to get on it because I knew I needed to get healthy. And I would get on and get off, get on and get off. So how did I finally come into the spot a year ago where I've managed to stay on it? Well, when it comes to food, that struggle and that difficulty is why we're splitting this segment into two videos. That's right, this week we're planning on covering a part of my personal journey. Just some practical tips for getting on and maintaining a healthy living plan. And then next week, exactly what should you eat in what quantities and when. Welcome to The Hiking Preacher. My name's Ben. Sit back, relax, and enjoy my personal story with tips on how to stay on a healthy eating plan. And you're like, oh, here he goes. He's going to do something goofy, like tell me that the first step in losing weight is just to decide to do it. Well, not exactly. What I'm going to ask you to do first of all is I want you to decide what your motivations for losing weight are. See, that's the most important part of this journey. Why do you want to take it off? What is your end goal? What is your reason for wanting to lose weight? Because see, when you get to times where you just don't feel like being healthy, that you just want to pig out, that you just don't want to exercise, that's what's going to get you off up the couch. That's what's going to motivate you to eat right. For me, most of you know that was walking down the streets of New Orleans one day, and I was huffing and puffing, and now don't get me wrong, I love New Orleans, but I couldn't even walk down a paved street. How on earth was I going to go on that mission trip in a year that I was thinking about committing to going, where I'd have to walk on trails and jungles through the mountains? And I became aware that there was no way God could use me like he wanted to until I got healthy. So that was my first motivation. Well, since then, there are things like hiking and kayaking and a multitude of other wilderness-related things that I've discovered I love because I started doing them to get healthy. But my sticking with that and my sticking with the eating healthy all goes back to that day in August when I was walking down the streets of New Orleans and I discovered my reason why. My dad used to call that going back to your burning bush, speaking of the story of Moses. So, what is your burning bush? What is your motivation for getting healthy? So you found your motivation. Awesome. Now, we're just going to get with it. We're going to fire our way through and we're going to beat this. We're going to be healthy. We're going to be fit. We're going to do what we're supposed to do. And oh my God, look at that piece of pie. That looks so awesome. I know I committed to going off of the sugar and eating everything right, but I just can't do it. I just got to have that food. Yeah, if you're like I was, You've been on again, off again for a long time now trying to get this thing done. So how do you get on a living plan and stay there? Well, I remember a movie when I think about this particular point. There was a movie back in the 90s entitled What About Bob? And it's about a gentleman who's, well, quite frankly, afraid of everything. I mean, he's afraid to go out because he's afraid somebody's going to shoot him or hurt him. He's afraid to talk on the telephone because he's afraid his identity will be stolen. He's afraid to drive or get in a bus because he thinks he's going to be hit, or to get in water because he thinks he's going to drown. I mean, you name a phobia, and Bob probably had it. But Bob desperately wanted to be able to live normal. So Bob went to see a therapist, and the therapist instructed Bob not to try and get out of it cold turkey, because Bob says, I've tried this hundreds of times and it just doesn't work. And the therapist says, well, you're trying to go at it all at once. Baby steps, Bob. Take baby steps. So throughout the movie, Bob begins to take baby steps until he's over his fears and his problems and can live like everyone else. Well, eating healthy was kind of the same for me, you know. I didn't just jump into it all in one day and then stay there. In fact, when I first started this thing, my wife and I were traveling CNAs, and we ate out practically every meal. Yep, McDonald's, Taco Bell, Burger King, you name it. And I was up to almost 353 pounds. Well, one day, I decided I was going to try and be healthy, and I tried to go cold turkey, and I sucked at it. So I stepped back, and I talked to my mom, and my mom said you need to take it one step at a time. So the first thing I did was to decide that when I had my meals, instead of drinking a sugar drink, I was going to drink a diet soda. So I started out having diet and soda instead of sugar drinks. Then I went from there to, well, you know, I really ought to drink water with my meals. So instead of having a diet soda, I drank water. Then after a couple of weeks on that, I decided, you know, I really don't need this much starch. I don't need French fries and a burger bun, so I just had the burger and water. Then I got off of the burger, and you can see where this is headed. I gradually worked myself from point A to point B. I didn't go from McDonald's every day to eating healthy all at once. So once you found your motivation, sit down, take a pen and paper, and decide what steps you're going to take to start trimming things out of your life that don't need to be there. But just as importantly, also add steps in there to, like, for example, when I took out the sugar drink, I added the diet soda. When I took out the diet soda, I added the water. You need to be sure that when you take something out, you put something good in. Create a plan and stick to it, one thing at a time. Baby steps onto the bus, Bob. Baby steps onto the bus. Let's be honest, there are times when being healthy is a royal pain in the neck. That's right. But for the most part, you want to try and make it as fun as you possibly can. And you can do that. When we first started losing weight, my wife and I bought Fitbits. And we have contests every week to see who can drink the most water, or who can take the most steps, and even who can lose the most weight in a week. And we challenge each other, and we push each other to go farther. And we encourage each other. That's what makes it fun. Another thing we do is what's called goals and rewards. Now, when you first start losing weight, you want to do what we did, and according to your height and your build, you have an ideal weight. Find out what that is and then set goals. It's reasonable to expect yourself to lose 2.5 to 3 pounds a week. Sometimes you'll do better. If you're like me, sometimes you do worse. But for better or for worse, that's about what you should lose. Then once you've got those goals in mind, decide when I hit each goal, I get a certain reward. When I hit my first goal, I got a pirate sword. No, I don't have it with me to show you today, but I do have it at home, and it's a nice piece of work. So what's my next reward? Well, when I hit my target weight, I'm getting a brand new camera. What are you getting when you hit your goal? Let's make it fun, shall we? One final thing, just because we've decided to be healthy doesn't mean that you can't indulge occasionally. Now wait a minute, Ben. I don't understand what you're saying. I thought we were trying to live healthy here. We are, but part of living healthy is being able to have fun occasionally. You know, if you're going to a party and you want to indulge in some of the hors d'oeuvres, feel free to do that occasionally and within reason. Don't gorge yourself, but, you know, have a little bit. In fact, there's a time once a week, one meal, where I allow myself to eat whatever I want. If I want to have pizza, I can have pizza. Now, again, I can't eat the whole thing, but I can have pizza. If I want to have McDonald's, I'll have McDonald's. If I want a steak, I eat a steak. And if I want a piece of pie, after it for dessert, I have a piece of pie. Remember, it's okay to allow yourself to live a little every now and then. We just don't want to do it every day, all the time, at every meal. So, have a little fun this evening. If you like what you see here on our channel, please hit that like button and subscribe. And hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any future content. Finally, YouTube is a social network. What that means is that we don't just make these videos so that we can yak at you. We would like to have any comments, questions, or recommendations that you might have, ideas for future videos. So if you'll just scroll down past all the other little videos below mine in your Facebook app, you'll see a section down there that says Add Public Comment. If you click on that, you can write in that. And we'll be able to reply to that and get back with you. Look forward to hearing from you.